Marry me. So, today I want to discuss whether or not we as pagans should always wish well on someone. If it is okay to wish somebody ill. Now, I'm not here talking about curses, because using magic to harm someone, that is violence, and that is sort of another debate, whether or not violence is okay. Some will also say that just wanting somebody to experience harm is enough to send out energies to that effect that is then a curse. And I can understand that point of view, but like I said in the video I made yesterday about a magical intent, I feel that there has to be something more behind it. Yes, I do believe that wishing somebody harm can generate negative energy, but I do not think it's a curse unless you put magical intent behind that energy. Anyway, to give some context about why I'm bringing this topic up. A while ago, I was discussing with some people on a forum about overweight, since this is a topic that concerns me. And there were people that was just so vicious. I mean, there were one person who just went on and on and on about how horrible and lazy and ugly people who are overweight were. And I told him that the suicide rate among people who are overweight, especially women who are overweight, are a lot higher than many other groups. And when people are bullied the way that you do, that can have real consequences. And he says, if somebody was weak enough that they would kill themselves over his words, then they deserve to die. But the one person that really got under my skin was this lady, and I use the term loosely, who said that, no, if you're overweight, then you aren't loving yourself, because clearly then you aren't taking care of yourself. And then you can't love others either. So if you are overweight, you are emotionless. You're just a parasite. You cannot love anyone. And yeah, that sort of pissed me off. So I told her in no uncertain terms, I said, I wish you get some illness that makes you overweight, so you can experience the same kind of hatred and prejudice that you are spewing onto others. Now, I talked about this experience with some of my pagan friends because I was pretty pissed off. Well, people talk about things that happen in their life, and they were just shocked. But they were not shocked about things that these people said. They were shocked that how could I, as a pagan, wish this woman harm? And that got me thinking about, basically, do we as pagans always have to turn the other cheek? Because, yeah, I know this video is probably going to get a few responses of, oh, but you're whining about your weight. No, I am using it as an example. There have been other experiences where I have said, no, I have no interest in this person. I really do not wish them well. And I used it just as an example. And the reaction I got from my pagan friends they were in shock that I would say such a thing. And I sort of had to go a bit into myself and think where my opinions on this were. And basically, I think that the idea of turning the other cheek is a commendable one. The idea that You never wish harm on somebody who wish harm on you, but you smile and try to see the positive in someone. I think that's a very good approach to life. I also think it's a very difficult approach to have because I don't think it's natural to the human condition. We are angry, brutal, vengeful creatures. And yeah, if somebody harms me, I would want to harm them back. Now, I do believe that such mindset isn't a very productive one, because vengeance have a tendency to be this never-ending vicious cycle, because then somebody hurts me and I hurt them and they want to hurt me back, and then it just goes on and on and on. And this is how we see in a grander scale and more tragic scale in families, where one family murders a member of that family and that murders a member of that family, and they just go back and forth and it never stops. So I do believe that as a concept, the Christian idea of turning the other cheek, which is also very much adopted by many pagans, is a very good outlook on life. But I also think it's sort of like I said, an unrealistic one. It's something that you can strive for. But at the same time, I do think we as human beings have the need to release some gall at times. Now, as for wishing somebody ill, some will say that is the same as a curse. That when I said that to this woman, I cursed her. But this is the point, I didn't put magical intent behind it. So could I have? Here's my point. There need to be a very, very good reason for me to use violence. And my stance on violence is that I'm not a pacifist. I think that there are times when violence are justified. And I see magical violence as any other kind of violence. You use it in self-defense. You use it to defend the ones you love. You use it for the things that really, really, really matter to you. Somebody that ticks you off online isn't worth it. So, no, I did not curse her. I did not put magical intent behind it. However, could my anger at that point have summoned up negative energy and sent it her way? Yes, but at the same time, I think that her own very, very negative worldview generated more energy than I did. And here's also one of my points when it comes to wishing somebody harm. Is what you're wishing for them just you spewing out profanities, or is there a reason behind it? Now, the reason why I have at several points when it comes to people who are extremely prejudiced against somebody, wish that they will somehow end up in that situation. I mean, there was another example, not this winter, but the winter before was very, very harsh in Norway. And there was this drug addict, a bum, who just lay on the street freezing for 2 hours, unmoving, and people just walked past and walked past and walked past before some decent soul picked up a phone and called an ambulance. And I mean, I didn't see this, I just heard about it in the news. And a lot of people commented on this and said that they should just let him die because it's human waste and so on and so forth. And one of those that said extremely vicious things about this person, I told him, you're talking about a human being. He has made mistakes in his life, clearly, but he it could have just as easily been anyone with the wrong circumstances in life, and they would have ended up in his place. And these are kind of people that I wish experience their own prejudice. And that doesn't just has to do with some idea of getting back at them, but because I think it can be very enlightening to walk a mile in somebody else's shoes. And I mean, this is part of many religions' ideas on reincarnation, for example. That if you are a very, if you ignore the poor and just hoard riches for yourself, you might live your next life as a poor man. Not as a punishment, but to learn from the experience. If you are extremely vain, you might be born ugly for your next life, and so on and so forth. And I strongly feel that when people are bullies, when they are prejudiced, when they can't see past a person's religion, appearance, skin tone, sexuality, wealth, when they can't see past these superficial things and see the human being that stands next to them, then yes, they deserve to have to walk a mile in the shoes of those they are bullying. And as such, it's not a well wishes, but it is wishing somebody harm, but with a purpose. But again, like I said, it's not a curse. It is expressing frustration and expressing just how much I despise this woman. And this is the point. We live in a very superficial society where everybody is supposed to nod and smile. And I think that a lot of pagans have bought into this. But I think it's very healthy to at times actually allow yourself to get angry. I think that basically there's no harm in saying that you wish somebody tasted their own medicine. There's actually no harm in saying I hope a ton of bricks drops on you. What there's a harm in is putting magical intent behind that. It's the same as if you look at it from a physical point of view. There's no harm in saying, I wish that George down on the grocery that I hate gets blown away. I think that's perfectly okay. It's what you think, it's what you feel is natural to express it. What is not okay is getting a gun and shooting George. And the same if you are in an argument, whether it will be online or in real life, saying basically not wishing somebody well. I mean, I had another experience with this. Uh, in as I know, I'm a Korean free woman, and when on forums related to that, I usually phrase my posts as letters, beginning with greetings and ending with be well. This is because the Gorean group I first encountered Goreans online and later practicing offline, but anyway, the group I first encountered had a very formalized way of talking with one another, and it sort of stuck. And so there was this complete asshole, I don't remember exactly why. I think he went on and on about how Gorians were the most terrible people on earth. And I ended my post to him by saying, usually here I say, I wish you well, but it would be a lie. I really don't. And it's honest, I don't wish him well. I don't think that people, whatever or not they are religious, should be required to wish everybody in the world well. But would I curse him? No. And again, of course, if your opinion is that any thought, whatever or not there are intent behind it, is magic. So then, of course, you have to be very, very careful with what you think, what you say, what you express. Because then saying something like that might actually hurt someone. But unless that is your belief, and it's not my belief, I believe that any thought can be magic if you put magical intent behind it. But it isn't automatically. And then I think it's healthy and normal to express anger and frustrations in such a way. And no, I don't think we are required as pagans to wish everybody well. And I think that it's quite okay to express that. I do think that the idea of the Wiccan Rede is a good one. Harm none and do as you will. And to me, saying that I personally wish harm to come to you is not harming that person. If I express that wish in a spell, that would be harming the person. Just expressing it is just an expression of my frustration and anger. And that is not harm, and as such it should be something I should be completely allowed to do. Because I think that a lot of people look at the concept of harming none and sees that point, but I don't see the do as you will part as much. But I think that these are very important to be connected together. If what you're doing don't harm anyone, then you should be allowed to do as you will. So yeah, if you believe that such ill wish in and of itself is magic, and I know many do, and I am not saying that they are wrong, but if that's your paradigm, then yes, wishing somebody ill in such a way does harm them, and if you are a follower of the Wiccan Rede, you probably shouldn't do it. But if you believe that there must be some magical intent behind words for them to be magic, then you're not harming anyone. You're just expressing a sentiment, and that's just free speech. And I think that as pagans, there's no problem with this. Now again, there's a lot of different brands of paganism. I am here talking about my experiences as a Wiccan-based pagan. I'm not Wiccan, but I'm basing my paganism very much on Wicca. So I'm not in any way here saying these are the opinions of every pagan and so on. I'm just adding that little disclaimer to the end of it. So yeah. So what are my conclusions here? Be a pagan bitch as much as you want. Have a great day, and blessed be.